Chakra Samhita and Sushruta Samhita, fundamental Ayurvedic texts providing insight into medical chemistry. Chakra Samhita and Sushruta Samhita are two of the most revered and the fundamental texts in Ayurveda, the traditional system of medicine in India. These texts provide valuable insight into medicinal chemistry, pharmacology, and the preparation of herbal remedies. In Chakra Samhita, there's written by the Charak and re-owned by Ayurvedic physician around 400 CE. Deal with they deals with the internal medicines, pharmacology, and therapeutics. It describes the properties and uses of over 350 plants and minerals. It introduced the concept of Panchatrambhatus, which is five elements in relations to the human body. Shutra Samhita, it is written by the Shutra, are celebrated by surgeons and physicians around 600 BCE. It focuses on the surgery, anatomy, and the obstetrics. It describes over 700 medicinal plants and their uses. It introduced the concept of Tridosha and three humors and their relations to the health and diseases. Both texts provide detailed information on medicinal plants, their properties, and use of the preparations of herbal remedies, which including extracts, decoctions, and infusions. Pharmacologist actions and interactions are there, chemical properties and processing of metals and minerals, it's the principle of drug action and toxicities. So these texts have had a profound impact on the development of Ayurvedic medicines and continue to be studied and reversed by the practitioners and scholars today. What is a mineral based medicines? So use of metals, minerals, and gemstones for therapeutic purposes, for example gold, silver, mercury, and copper. In Ayurveda, mineral based medicines have been used for centuries to treat various health conditions. Here are some examples. Gold, which is swarn, used in preparations like swarna bhasma, which is gold ash, to treat conditions like arthritis, diabetes, and skin diseases. Silver, which is rajat, used in the preparations like rajat bhasm, which is silver ash, to treat conditions like fever, indigestions, and skin diseases. Mercury, which is parat, which is used in the like parat bhasm, which is mercury ash, to treat conditions like syphilis, skin diseases, neurological disorders. Copper, which is tamba, which is used in the preparations like tambra bhasm, which is copper ash, due to treat conditions like anemia, arthritis, and skin diseases. Gemstones, ruby, which is mica, which is used for treat conditions like fever, inflammations, and eye diseases. Emerald, which is marakatra, and which is used to treat conditions like asthma, bronchitis, and skin diseases. Diamond, which is Vajra, which is used to create and treat conditions like arthritis, diabetes, and neurological disorders. So these mineral-based medicines are prepared through a process called Bhasmakaran, which is involved purifying and processing the minerals to make them a safe for consumptions. The preparation are often combined with herbal ingredients and other substances to enhance their therapeutic properties. It is important to get note that the use of mineral-based medicines in Ayurveda, it requires proper training and expertise, as improper preparation or use can be harmful. Additionally, the efficiency and the safety to these medicines have not been extensively studied using modern scientific method, and use there should be approachable and with cautious. So extractions and purification techniques. See, in this elaborate process for obtaining pure substances from natural resources or sources in Ayurveda, extractions and purification techniques are used to obtain pure substances from not natural source such as plants, minerals, metals. So these techniques includes dedications, which is khatwa, which is boiling plant material in water to extract active ingredients, and infusions, which is pantha, steeping plant material in the hot water to extract active ingredients. Marcinations, which is ardhra, which is soaking plant material in water or another liquid to extract active ingredients. Fermentation, sadhana, is allowing plant material to ferment to extract active ingredients. Distillations, which is ambu, heating plant material to produce a vapor which is then consent to extract active ingredients. Calcinations, which is pathua, heating substance in the absence of air to remove impurities and extract active ingredients. Purification is the shodhana, which is removing impurities from substances through processing like washing, filtering, and boiling. Sublimations, which is upadhana, heating substances to produce a vapor which is then condensed to extract pure substances. So these techniques are used to extract and purify various substances, including plant extractions like turmeric, ginger, mineral substances, which is sulfur, mercury, metal oxides, which is iron, copper, gem and gemstones, which is ruby and emerald. So the extracted and the purified substances are then used to prepare various Ayurvedic formulations, such as tablet, capsules, powder, and oils, which are used to treat various health conditions. So, what is formulation of compounds? See, combining various substances to create complex medicinal preparations and Ayurveda, formulation of compound involves combining various substances such as herbs, minerals, metals to create complex medicinal preparations. So, this process is known as yogas or formulation. The goal is to create preparations that enhance the therapeutic properties of individuals, ingredients, and minimize their toxicities or side effects. Types of formulations, which is kashya, is detoxifications, which is combining of herbs and species in detoxification form. Ashrutra, which is fermented preparations in fermentations of herbs and spices to create a medicinal liquid. Vati is tablets, a combination of herbs and species in tablet form. Guglu, which is raisins based preparations. It is a combination of herbs, spices, and guglu is a Camphora mucul resins. So rasa is the manicural preparation, which is combination of mercury with other herbs and species. Bhasma is the mineral-based preparation, which is a combination of mineral and metal with herbs and species. Leha, which is the linguistic combination of herbs and species in semi-solid forms, which is Grita. Grita is the ghee-based preparations. In this, the combination of herbs and species with ghee as clarified butter. So, these formulations are used to treat various health conditions such as digestive disorders, respiratory problems, skin diseases, fever infections, mental health disorders, chronic disease like diabetes and arthritis. So, the art of formulation is a crucial of Ayurvedic pharmacy, requiring a deep understanding of the property and interactions of various substances. So, what do you mean by alchemy and rasayana? See, the pursuits of longitudinally and the rejuvenations through chemical processes, alchemy and rasayana are the concept in Ayurveda that aims to achieve longitudinally the rejuvenations through the chemical process and the use of certain substances. Alchemy is the rasayana, means rasayana is the Ayurvedic equivalent of alchemy. So aims to transform the body's tissues and fluids to achieve longevity and rejuvenations. It involves the use of minerals, metals, and plants to prepare medicinal substances. It also focuses on the concept of rasa, which is essence, and its transformation into the subtle and refined form. Rasayana therapy is the it aims to nourish or rejuvenate the body's tissues and fluids, and it is uses the substance like gold, silver, copper to prepare medicinal preparations, which involve processes like calcinations, purification, and transformations of substances. Which is the goals includes rejuvenations of the body and mind. It also enhances the physical and mental strength and having the promotion of longevity and overall health. Some key concept is Ayurvedic alchemy is rasayana, including prada, which is mercury substance, and it considered a key substances and Ayurvedic alchemy. And rasa is essence with the refined subtle form of substances. Bhasma is ash, the purified calcinate form of substances. Yoga is union with the combination of substances to achieve desired effects. These concepts aimed and processes to achieve the ultimate goals to Ayurveda and to promote overall health, well-being, and longevity. So let's go further in meticularly in ancients. So in what is the meaning of meticularly in ancient India? So here I'm just discussing you some points you should know about meticularly in ancient India. So meticularly in ancient India date back before the third millennium BCE. In the Sanskrit terms, ayas is used in the Rig Veda to refers to metal, means and metal, copper, and iron. The Indian continent's cultural and commercial context with the Near East and the Geo-Roman, the world enables an extract of multicular sciences. The advent of the Mughals in 1526 improved the established traditions of meticularly and mental working in India. During the British rule in the India, the metalwork industry stagnated, but effort by industry revived the industry during the 19th century. Recent excavations in Middle Ganga Valley show iron working in India may have begun as early as 1800 BCE. Archaeologist sites in India such as Malar, Dalpur, Rajanala, Kathika, Tela, um, and Lahore Dwara is the state of Uttar Pradesh, show the iron implements in the period between 1800 BCE to 1200 BCE. So, what do you mean by Indus Valley civilization? So, here are some key points which I'm just going to discuss about Indus Valley civilization and meticularly. The copper and bronze, meticularly in the Harappan civilization, was widespread and had a high variety and quality. While there is no proven evidence for cemented iron in the Indus Valley civilization, iron ore and iron items have been found in 8 Indus Valley sites, some of which date to before 2600 BCE. Lothari copper is unusually pure, lacking the arsenic typically used by coppersmiths across the rest of the Indus Valley. Workers mixed tint with the copper from for the manufacture of various items, and they also employed advanced meticularly in following the Sayre procedure techniques of casting. They used more than one piece modules for casting birds and animals. So they also used new tools such as curved saw and twisted drills were invented, which were unknown to other civilizations at the time. So, what is Iron Age? See, the Iron Age in India is generally dated to the period between 1500 BCE and 1500 BCE. Here are some key points of Iron Age in India. The Iron Age India begins with the collapse of Indus Valley civilization and the rise of the Vedic period. Iron was introduced in India around 1500 BCE and it used become widespread during the later Vedic period, which is 1200 BCE to 500 BCE. The use of iron led to significant technological advancement, including the development of new tools, weapons, and agriculture practices. The Iron Age in India saw the rise of several major kingdoms and empire, including the Mauryan Empire, which was one of the largest empire in the Indian history. The Iron Age also saw the development of new cultural and religious practices, including the rise of Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism. The period also saw significant advancement in metallurgy with the development of new techniques and tools for working with iron and other metals. Some notable archaeologist sites from the Iron Age in India, which includes Hastinapur, which is in Uttar Pradesh, Mathura is also in Uttar Pradesh, Achir Chakra is the also in Uttar Pradesh. Rajatgarh is also in Uttar Pradesh. Taxila, Pakistan. Bhilsa is Madhya Pradesh. So these sites have yielded a range of Iron Age artifacts, including weapons, tools, pottery, and coins, which provide valuable insight into the culture, technology, and economic of the time. So, what is Vedic texts? The Vedic texts contain multiple references to the metallurgy, include the Rig Veda used the Sanskrit term ayas to refer to the metal. The Braj Vimana Shastra, a post-Vedic period which contains descriptions of various aspects of metallurgy, include crucibles, furnaces, and air blowers. The Rasa Ratna Samuchaya and the Rashendra Sara Samagra both from the medieval periods contain descriptions of the preparation of metal powder and blinders. The Bharat Samhita, a 6th century AD text, describes the use of blinders and glues in the metallurgy. The Bharat Vimsa Shastra also contains descriptions of metallurgy in the context of aircraft constructions, including the use of heat conducting metals and alloy. So, what do you mean by metal extractions and purification? See, in this, the Vedic texts describe the various methods for metal extractions and the purifications, which includes fire refining using fire to purify metals mentioned in the Rig Veda. And the crucible smelting means melting metals in the crucibles describes as a Vrat Vimansa Shastra. Distillations is the purification methods through the distillations method in the Rasa Ratna Samuchaya. Calcination is the heating metal to remove impurities described in the Rasendra Sara Sangra. Electrolysis, which is purifying the metal using an electric current mentioned in the Bharat Samhita. Chemical treatment, using chemical to remove impurities, describing in Rasaratana Samuchaya, which is a filtration separating metals from impurities using filters mentioned in Rajendra Sara Sangra. And so these methods were likely used to extract the purify metal like copper, bronze, iron, silver, so which are were used in the various applications, including tools, weapons, and ritual objects. So it is important to note that while these insights and having the valuable ancient Indian metacolorly, their interpretation requires carefully conditions of the historical and cultural context in which they were written. So, alloy and composites. The Vedic texts also describe various alloys and composites, which includes ayas, and in this it is known as metal alloy. It is a mixture of different metals like copper, bronze, and iron, steel. Rasa ayas, which is metal mineral alloy. In this combination of metals with the minerals like copper, tint, and or silver, lead, Loha. It is iron alloy, which having different types of irons alloy like steels of pig iron, which is Tamra is the which also known as copper alloy, various copper alloys like brass or bronze. Composites, which is a mixture of metal with non-metallic material like wood or bone. So some example of alloy and composites mentioned, it is a Vedic text includes the Pancha Ayas, which have 5 metal alloy, a mixture of gold, silver, copper, and tint lead. Shad alloys is the 6 metal alloy, a combination of gold, silver, copper, tint, lead, and iron. Ayaskritita, it is a mental made material which made from a combination of metals. Rasakrita is the mineral made, which is material made from a combination of minerals. So these alloys and composites were likely used in various applications, including tools, weapon, jewelry, and rituals. Object the development of alloy and composites that demonstrate the advancement metallurgies, knowledge, and skills of ancient Indian metallurgies. So, metal workings and craftsmen. The Vedic texts also describe various aspects of metal working and craftsmen, including the blacksmithing, forging, shaping material and metals using heat, the hammering mentioned in the Rig Veda. Casting. It's pouring the molten metal into the molds to create shapes and describe the Vraj Vimamsa Shastra. Forging, it is a shaping metals using heat and hammering mentioned in the Rasuratana Samuchaya. Welding is a joining metal together using heat and pressure, describing the Rajendra Sarha Sangrah. Enabling, which is the applying a glassy coating to metal mentioned in the Bharat Samhita. It's etching is the decorating material and metals using acids or other corrosive substances described in Rasaratana Samuchaya. Metal cavering. Metal cavering is the creating intricate designs and metals on metals mentioned in the Rajendra Sara Sangraha. Jewelry making is the creating ornaments and adornment using the metal and other materials described in Bharat Samhita. Like we use oxidized metals in this today's world. So these techniques were likely used to create a wide range of metal objects, including tools, weapon, rituals, object, and decorative items. The Vedic texts also describe the importance of metalworking and craftsmen in the culture and economy of ancient India. So now we are going to use about use of chemistry in medicines. So how we use chemistry in medicines, we are going to learn about uh, in this we use in the medicines has a long history in ancient India with evidence of various chemical preparations and application in Ayurvedic texts such as Rasnatana Samuchaya, which describe the use of chemical like mercury, sulfur, arsenic in medicines. Rajendra Sarha Sangraha is the detail of the preparation of chemical medicines, including mercury-based compound. Chakra Samhita is described the use of chemical preparations like Bhalmus. Bhalmus is the calcinated metals in medicines. Shutra Samhita is described the surgical procedure and the use of chemical antiseptics. So some of the example of chemical preparation used in Ayurvedic medicines include bhasm, which is calcinated metals like iron, copper, silver, and used to treat various elements. Rasa is the mercury-based preparations used to treat diseases like selfies and the skin conditions. Guglu is the resins-based preparation used to treat obesity, arthritis, and skin conditions. Aristra is the fermented preparation used to treat digestive disorders and other alignments. So these chemical preparations were likely used in various forms, including powder, pills, and ointments were administered orally or topically. So the use of chemistry in medicines in ancient India, it also demonstrates a sophisticated understanding of chemical properties and their application in healthcare. Herbal remedies. Herbal remedies have been a cornerstone of Ayurvedic medicines for thousands of years, using plants and plant extracts to prevent their treat and various health and conditions. Here are detailed overview. So I'm just going to discuss in detailed form. So types of herbal remedies is Swara is the fresh plant juice. Kalka is the plant paste. Hema is cold infusions. Pantha is the hot infusions. Katha is detoxifications. Aswa is fermented plant. Astra is the fermented plants detections. Guglu is the raisins based preparations. Bhasma is calcinated plant ash. So, how do we prepare? So, there are some methods. Detoxification is the boiling plant material in water. Infusion is the steeping plant material in hot water. Fermentation is the allowing plants material in to ferment. Calcination in heating plant material to ash. So there's common herbs which is used. Turmeric is the curcuma longa is anti-inflammatory oxidant. Ginger is the gingery burr ophenicillin, which is digestive acid and anti-inflammatory. Neem is antimicrobial and it is also anti-inflammatory. Ashwagandha is adaptogens and stress relief. Trifla is the uh, termina is Bacillia, which is Amblica oflinens, which is digestive aids antioxidant. Guglu is the cholesterol reductions and weight management. Bharmi is the cognitive and enhancement memory support. Amlakali is the antioxidant immune system support. So how they use in therapeutics uses, which is digestive issues, which is constipation, diarrhea, and digestions, respiratory problem, which is cold, cough, and asthma, skin conditions, acne, enzymes, psoriasis, stress and anxiety, insomnia, which is depressions, chronic diseases, which is diabetes, hypertension, and arthritis. Why this importance in herbal remedies in Ayurveda? In natural and safe, minimal side effects and non-invasive, holistic approach, treat body, mind, and spirit, preventive care and promote health and wellness, personalized medical medicines tailored to individual needs, cost effective is accessible and affordable. Herbal remedies play a vital role in Ayurvedic medicines, offering a natural, holistic approach to health and wellness by understanding the different types of preparations and methods and therapeutical uses of herbal remedies. Individuals can harness the power of plant to promote overall health and well-being. So, what is the meaning of mineral and chemical and use of chemical medicines? So, minerals and chemical have been used in Ayurvedic medicines for centuries and are mentioned in various Asian texts, which include Rasana Ratna Samuchaya, and it describes the use of minerals and chemical in medicines. Rajendra Sara Samugra, which is detailed in the preparation of mineral and chemical based medicines. Chakra Samhita is the mention the use of mineral and chemicals in various treatment. Some examples of mineral and chemical use in the Ayurvedic medicines, which includes mercury, is the pradha, which is used in preparation of rasindra, in which is mercurial oxide to treat diseases like syphilis and skin conditions. Sulfur gandhara is used in preparations like gandhara rasayana to treat skin condition and digestive tissues. Arsenic is the Mahavreshwa used in preparations like Mahareshwar Rasayana to treat disease like asthma and bronchitis. Copper is a tamra which is used in the preparations like tambar. Bhasma to treat disease like anemia and skin conditions. Iron is loha used in preparations like loha, bhasma to treat disease like anemia and weaknesses. Zinc is yasda. It is used in preparations like bhasma to treat diseases like skin condition and wounds. Maisa is the use in preparation like Abraha Bhasma to treat diseases and having like respiratory problems and digestive issues. So these minerals and chemicals are used in various forms, including Bhasma, which is calcinated minerals and metals. Rasa is the mercury-based preparations. Isti is the powdered minerals and metals. Guglu is the resin-based preparations. Ayurvedic practitioners use these minerals and chemicals in various ways, including internal medications, external applications, panchara treatments, surgical procedures, and it is important to note that the use of mineral and chemical in Ayurvedic medicines require a proper training and expertise, as they can be toxic if not used correctly. So, what do you mean by pharmaceuticals, which is come in the Ayurvedic and is also known as Ayurvedic drugs or Ayurvedic medicines, and its preparation used to prevent, treat various health conditions. These pharmaceuticals are the typically made from natural ingredients like herbs. Herbs come from plants, leaf, roots, etc. Minerals is the metal, salts, etc. Animal product comes from honey, milk, etc. So there are the Ayurvedic pharmaceuticals comes in the various forms, including tablets, capsules, powders, ointments, oils, ashwagandha, turmeric, ginger. So these paramedics are the used to treat various health conditions such as constipations and having digestive issues and having diarrhea, indigestions, respiratory problems like cold, cough, asthma, skin conditions, having acne, enzymes, and porosis, stress and anxiety, which having the insomnia and depressions, chronic diseases, which having diabetes, hypertension, arthritis. Ayurvedic pharmaceuticals are manufactured using traditional methods such as grinding and mixing, fermentation, distillations, calcinations. Some notable Ayurvedic pharmaceuticals companies include Patanjali, Dabur, Himalaya, Badrinath, Baidyanath, and Jandu. So it is important to note that while Ayurvedic are generally considered safe, they can interact with other medications and should be used under the guidance of qualified Ayurvedic practitioners. Now we are going Now we are going to study about use of chemistry in meticularly. The use of chemistry in meticularly is crucial for extracting metal from ores, refining them, and creating alloy. Here are some ways chemistry is used in meticularly, which is extractions. See, in extractions, chemical reactions are used to extract metal from ores, such as reductions, oxidation, and electrolysis. Refining, which is chemical processes like distillations and crystallizations and precipitations, are used to purify metals. Alloying is the chemical combination of metals are used to create alloy with the desired properties. Heat treatment, which is the chemical treatment, chemical reactions occur during heat treatments, processing like annealings, hardening, and tempering to alter metal properties. Surface fishings and having the chemical process like the electroplating, chromoplating, and the picking are used to enhance metal surface. Analytical chemistry, which is a technique like spectroscopy and chromography, are used to analyze metal compositions and detect impurities. Corrosion protections, having the chemical coatings and treatment are applied to prevent corrosions and protect metal from degradations. So recycling is the chemical processes are used to extract metal from scrap material and recycle them. Some specific chemicals reaction used in meticularly include reductions, which is iron oxide, which is um, iron oxide plus carbon equals to iron and plus carbon dioxide. So electrolytes, which is aluminum oxides to aluminum plus oxygen. Calcination is the copper carbonate to copper oxide plus carbon oxide. So, the understanding of the chemical principle and reaction is essential for efficient and effective metal extractions and refining the processing in meticularly. So, what do you mean by alloy development? See, alloy development involves combining metals and other elements to create materials with specific properties. And in ancient India, alloy development was a significant aspect of meticularly, leading to the creations of various alloys with unique characteristics. So some examples including brass, which is copper zinc alloy. It is used for utensils, weapons, and decorative items. Bronze, it is copper tint alloy, which is used for weapons, tools, sculptures. Steel is iron carbon alloy. It is used for weapons, tools, and constructions material. Gold silver alloy, it is used for jewelry and ornaments. Electrum is a gold silver copper alloy. It is used for coins and jewelry. The process of alloy development involves experimentations with different metals combinations, adjusting proportions to the achieve desired properties, testing and refining the alloy. So ancient India meticularly used various techniques including metal and melting and mixing metals, hammering and folding to dispute elements evenly, heat treatments to alter microstructures. So the development of alloy playing a significant role in ancient India's technological advancement, enabling the creation of the stronger, more durable materials for various applications. So what do you mean by smelting and casting techniques? So smelting and casting techniques were used in ancient India to extract metals and ores to create various metals objects such as smelting they use the reductions. See, using the carbon dioxide or carbon rich materials to reduce metal oxides to pure metals. Fluxes is adding substances like limestones, silica to remove impurities. Furnaces is using clay or stone furnaces to achieve high temperatures. In casting, it used for mold making. It's creating the mold from clay, sand, or stone to shapes the metal. It's also puring. See, if you're pouring the molten metals into the molds to create desired shapes, Solidification is allowing the metal to cool and solidify. Techniques used in ancient India includes crucible smelting, which is using clay or stones crucibles to smelt metals, Bromley smelting, which is producing sponge irons through smelting iron ore, casting into sand molds, which is creating integrated shapes and designs, lost wax casting, which is used for wax models to create complex shapes, and these techniques were used to create various metal objects, including tools and weapons, jewelry, ornaments, coins, currencies, sculptures, statues, vessels, utensils, many more things. So, the development of these smelting and casting techniques in ancient India demonstrate a sophisticated understandings of metallurgy and materials sciences. So, what is the impact of modern metal working? The Asian Indian metallurgy techniques and alloy development have had a significant impact on modern modern metal working, which understanding the phase of diagrams. So, see in this ancient Indian metallurgies experiment with the alloy and compositions and heat treatment laid the foundation of the modern phase diagrams understandings. So, the development of the new alloy research on ancient Indian alloy has inspired the creations of new alloy with the informed properties. Advanced metal processing techniques in this the modern metal workings technique like vacuum inductions, metalling, and the electrocyte remelting have their roots in ancient India and having the metallurgy. Material sciences advancement, which is the study of Asian India alloys, has contributed to a deeper understanding of material sciences and properties. Inspirations for nanomaterial, ancient India metallurgy's ability to create materials with unique properties has inspired modern research or nanomaterials. Preservation of cultural heritage, it is a study of replications of Asian Indian metallurgy, which have been techniques help preserve cultural heritage and historical knowledge. Cross disciplinary collaborations. So, in this research on ancient Indian metallurgy has fostered collaborations between the archaeologists, historians, and the material sciences. So, the ancient Indian metallurgy legacy continues to influence modern metal workings, driving the innovations and advancement in material sciences. So, chemistry, the common thread. See, in this, uh, chemistry is the common thread that runs through the entire narrative of Asian Indian narrative, and particularly from the extractions of metal from ore to creations of alloy and the development of new materials. So, chemistry was the underlying science that enables ancient Indian metallurgists to understand composition of ores, metals, develop processes to extract and purify metals, create alloy with unique properties, control the microstructure and properties of materials, innovative new materials and technologies. So the chemical principles and reactions that governs metallurgy such as reductions, oxidations and precipitations were intuitively considered understood the skillfully applied by the Asian Indian metallurgists, and their innovative approaches and experiments in metallurgy were rooted in a deeper understanding of chemical interactions and transformations. So the legacy of Asian Indian metallurgy continues to inspire and inform modern materials science and chemistry, with the researchers still learning from building upon the discoveries and innovations of our ancestors. So, what do you mean by interconnections between medicines and the metallurgy? So, there's a overlapping chemical knowledge and techniques. So, it is a fascinating aspect of Indian science. The interconnections between the medicines and the metallurgy may seem unexpected, but they share a common foundation in chemistry. Asian India practitioners recognize the overlap in chemical knowledge and techniques, which leading to the exchange of innovations between two yields. Here are some examples which I'm going to discuss. See, in this Ayurvedic medicines, which is used in metals and minerals in preparations like bhasms, which is calcinated metals, and Christy, which is minerals powders. Metacularly's knowledge of metal extraction and purification was applied in medicines. Chemical processes like calcinations, roasting, and decoctions were used in both medicinally and medicines. The concept of Panch Mahabhutash, which is five elements, earth, water, air, ether, and was central to both Ayurvedic and medicinally. Ras Ratnam Samuchaya is a text on Ayurveda which describes the use of metallic preparations like mercury and sulfur in medicines, showcasing the overlap with metacularist understandings of alloy formations and properties, which influence the development of medicinal preparations, and having the cross pollinations of the ideas and techniques between the medicines and the metaculary demonstrate the holistic approach of the Asian India sciences, where the knowledge was shared and applied across the discipline. So, what do you mean by importance of purity and quality? See, it empathizes on obtaining pure substances for both medicinal and metacularly purposes. It is an excellent point. The importance of purity and the quality was a crucial aspect of both Ayurvedic medicines and ancient Indian metacularly. The emphasis on obtaining pure substances was driven by the understanding impurities could compromise the efficiency and safety of medicinal preparations and quality of metals. So in Ayurveda, the concept of shodhana, which is purifications, was essential for preparing medicinal substances. Practitioners followed rigorous process to ensure the purity, herbs, minerals, metals, and use in preparations. Similarly, in metacularly, the pursuit of purity was critical for producing high quality metals. So metacularists developed the techniques like smelting, refining, distillations to remove impurities and achieve pure metals. The emphasis on purity and quality reflects the attention to detail, to commitment, and to excellence in Asian India sciences, the understanding that even a small amount of impurity could significantly impact the final product demonstrate a sophisticated understanding of chemical principles and dedications to quality control. So this focus on purity and quality has had a lasting impact on the development of both Ayurvedic medicines and molecularly influencing the evaluations of these disciplines over time. So, what do you mean by experimental approaches? So, experimental approaches having the observations, experimentation, and empirical knowledge as foundation for chemical understanding and as a key aspect of Asian Indian chemistry. The experimental approach was indeed a cornerstone of chemical understanding in Asian India, having the practitioners relied on observations and experimentation and empirical knowledge to develop their understanding of chemical processes and properties. So, in this, we have some key features of this experimental approach, which include observations. In this, careful observation of natural phenomena and chemical reactions, experimentation systematics, experimentation to having the hypothesis and understanding the chemical behavior. Empirical knowledge is based on the building knowledge on practical experience and experimentations. Trial and error, it's refining the process of techniques through trial and error. Innovation, developing new techniques and processes through experimentation and innovations. So, in this, the experimental approach was applied in the various areas, including metacularly, which developing new extractions and purification techniques. Medicines is creating new medicinal preparation and testing their efficiency. Material science is discovering new material and their properties, and this empathize on experimentation empirical and having the knowledge reflect a paradigmatic and hand-on approach to chemical understanding which was essential for development of ancient Indian history and chemistry. So this approach also demonstrate the integrity and resourcefulness of ancient India practitioners who were able to achieve remarkable advancement despite limited resources. Now we will go further about legacy and impact. What is legacy and impact? See, The legacy of impact on Asian Indian chemistry are profound and far reaching. So, contribution of modern chemistry, ancient Indian chemistry, laid to the foundation for modern chemistry, which influencing the development of disciplines like molecularly material science, pharmacology, Ayurvedic medicines, the empirical knowledge and experimental approach of Asian Indian chemistry continue to influence Ayurvedic medicines, a traditional system of medicine, is still widely practiced today. So, technological advancement is the ancient Indian chemistry, which led to significant technological advancements such as development of steels, alloy, and advancement metal working technicals. Inspirations for future scientists, the achievement of Asian Indian chemists have inspired generation of scientists, encouraging them to explore wonders of chemistry. Cultural exchange and diffusions. The Asian Indian chemistry influenced chemical knowledge and practitioners in other Asian civilizations, such as Egypt, China, Greece, through cultural exchange and diffusions. Historical significance. The history of Asian Indian chemistry provide a unique window into the intellectual and technological achievement of Asian Indian civilizations. Interdisciplinary approach. So, in ancient Indian, chemistry demonstrate the value of interdisciplinary approach and combining philosophy, medicines, and material science to advance chemical understanding. The legacy of Asian Indian chemistry continues to inspire and inform modern chemistry, serving as a testament to the power of human curiosity and integrity. So, what do you mean by contribution to modern sciences? So, here are the contribution of Asian Indian history to modern science, which understanding the atomic theory. See, in ancient Indian philosopher, it understood that the matter was composed of atoms that were invisible and indestructible. In chemistry, there was significant advancement in the field of chemistry, including the development of Rasayan Shastra or Rastaratna Samuchaya. Metacularly in Asian Indians made significant contribution to the metacularly, which including the development of the Malhari iron pillar. And alchemy, which is the ancient Indian alchemists tried to turn lead into gold. Ayurveda, it is ancient Indian physicians use chemistry for healing purposes. Gunpowder. Some of the historians claim that the ancient Indian discovered a form of gunpowder. Mathematics. See, Asian Indian mathematics like Buddhagyans, Aryabhat, Brahmaputra, Bhaskacharya, Mahavircharya made significant contribution to the mathematics. So, astronomy in Asian Indian astronomers made significant contribution to the astronomy, including the work of Aryabhat II. So, what are the Ayurvedic principles? See, in Ayurvedic principle, which is originated in ancient India and continue to influence modern science in several ways. First is holistical approach. See, Ayurvedic emphasis on treating the whole person's body, mind, and spirit has inspired modern holistic medicines. Natural remedies. Ayurveda use of natural substances and plant has contributed to the development of modern pharmacology and nutraceuticals. So it is a personalized medicines, which is Ayurveda concept of naturalized treatment, which is based on the body type, which is doshas, has influenced modern personalized medicines. Mind body connection. See, Ayurveda understanding of the mind body connections has influenced modern psychoneurology and stress research. Diet and nutrition. Ayurvedic principle of diet and nutrition have influenced modern nutrient science and functional medicines. Herbal medicines, Ayurvedic extensive use of herbs and contributed to the development of modern herbal medicines. Cosmetic and skincare, which is Ayurvedic principle, have influenced the development of natural cosmetic and skincare products. Stress management. Ayurvedic techniques like yoga, meditations, pranayam have become mainstream stress management tools. Preventive medicines, which is Ayurveda's emphasizes on preventions and wellness, has influenced modern preventive medicines and health promotions. Integrative medicines. See, in this, Ayurveda's integrated of physical, mental, and spiritual approaches has inspired modern integrative medicines. So, what do you mean by metachlorological techniques? See, here are some of the metallurgical techniques which is used in the ancient India. It is copper technology. See, in copper technology, copper was the first element to be discovered in metallurgy. Copper and its alloy were used to create copper bronze images. Brass. Brass was used in Lothril and Arjun Khera in the third and second millennium BCE. Iron. Recent excavations in Middle Ganga Valley show iron working in India may have begun as early as 1800 BCE. Woods and steels. The first form of crucible steels was woods and developed in the India sometime around 300 BCE. Zinc. Zinc was extracted in India as early as in 4th and to 3rd century BCE. So, preservations, promotion of Asian knowledge, the preservations and promotion of Asian knowledge in India has some being continuous process with various efforts made by different individuals, organizations, and governments. So some example which is include Asian texts, which is preservation of Asian texts like the Vedas, Upanishads, Ayurvedic texts like Chakra Samhita and Shrutra Samhita. Traditional knowledge holders, which is a preservation of technicals and traditional knowledge of practitioners of Ayurveda, yoga, and other ancient Indian sciences. Institutions, elements established of institutions like the Indian Council of Medical Research, which is ICMR, Central Councils of Research in Ayurvedic Sciences, which is CCRS, and Indian Institute of Technology, which is IIT, to promote research and education in ancient Indian sciences. So government initiatives, which the initiatives like the National Mission of for Manuscripts and the Indian National Digital Library to preserve the digitalized Asian manuscripts. Revive of traditions, practices, efforts to revive traditional practices like Ayurveda, Unani, and Siddharth Midan medicines and the traditions yoga practices. Education and training. Educational institutions and training programs to teach ancient Indian sciences and practices. Research and development. Research and development in ancient Indian sciences like Ayurveda and yoga to integrate traditional knowledge with modern sciences. Cultural festivals and event celebrations of the cultural festival and events like Yoga Day, Ayurvedic Day, and the traditional art forms to promote ancient Indian knowledge. Digital platforms creation are digital platforms like online courses, websites, and apps to disseminate ancient Indian knowledge. Collaboration and international exchange. See, collaborations and international institutions, international organization to promote ancient Indian knowledge globally. Mathematics in ancient India. See, in this, ancient Indians mathematics may be tracked back to the Vedic period, where the evidence of arithmetic and geometric applications may be found in Vedic texts such as Sulba Sutras. Vedic periods. Large number were used in context of religious rituals such as mantras and sacrifices. Sulba Sutras rule for constructing and sacrificial wires, altars with different shapes but equals areas include the Pythagoras theorem and geometrical fundamentals. Jain mathematics is the contribution to the number theory, which includes the concept of zero, infinity, and immense number. Astronomical models, mathematical techniques for astronomical models to maintain calendars and track seasonal changes. Indian numeral, which is development of the decimal place value system and the use of zero. Kerala schools series expansion for the trigonometric functions, including the sine, cos, and arctangent. So, what is the development of the mathematical branches? See, in ancient India, various mathematical branches were developed, which includes arithmetic, which is also known as Ank Jant, or we can also say that Ank Ganit. So, development of the number systems, operations, and the properties. Algebra is Bhijaganit, which is solutions to the linear equations and quadratic equations and algebraic methods. Geometry is the Rekha Ganit, which is a study of the points, lines, angles, shapes, including Pythagoras theorem. Trigonometry is the trigonometry, which is development of the trigonometric tables and formulas for triangles. Calculus is the Ganit, which development or to infinite series, limit, and derivatives. Combinatorics, which is Angshastra, it is a study of permutation and combination probability. Number theories is the Angshastra, which is known as properties of numbers, including primality, divisibility, and cognitiveness. Astronomy is the Jyotish. See, in this mathematical models for astronomical phenomena like planetary motion and eclipse. So these branches were developed by the ancient Indian mathematics like Aryabhatta, Brahmaputra, Bhaskar, and Rama Arjun, among others. Their works such as Aryabhatta and Siddhanta Shirmani showcase the significant contribution of ancient India in the field of mathematics. So, what is the use of sutras? See, in ancient India, mathematics sutras, meaning threads or strings, refer to the concise and aphoristic statements that the encapsulated mathematical concept, formulas, and rules. So, these sutras were used to encode mathematics knowledge in a compact of memorable form, facilitates easy recall and application of mathematical concept, and provide a framework for problem solving and calculations. It also enables transmissions of mathematical knowledge from teacher to student and from the basis for the further development and extensions of mathematical ideas. There are some example of famous mathematical sutras, which is Pythagorean sutras, which is we all know that Pythagoras sutras, how we solve it. The formula for the base area of triangle, the formula for the circumstances of the circle circumstances, the rule for the calculating the volume of the sphere. These sutras demonstrate the ingenuity and the efficiency of ancient Indian mathematics in distilling complex idea into simple, memorable, and powerful tool for mathematical explorations. So, what do you mean by impact on model sciences? See, in ancient India, mathematics has had a significant impact on modern sciences, which contributing to the various branches of mathematics, including trigonometry. Indian mathematicians such as Bhaskar made a significant contribution to trigonometry, including the concept of zero, which revolutionized the field. Algebra, which is Brahmaputra rule for solving quadratic equations and computing square roots, were groundbreaking. Arithmetic, which is a decimal system first seen in India and is still used in worldwide today. Calculus, in Indian mathematics like Bhaskar and the Kerala schools developed concept later repeated in Europe, including Taylor's series and expansion and differentiations. Number theory. Ramanujan's works on number theory and combinatorics is renowned.